New townships are being planned to decongest the population of Metro Manila. This is aside from the massive relocation of informal settlers. Freddie Abando with more details.
The government is expected to complete its massive relocation of informal settlers living close to danger zones before the end of the president's term in June. In all, 104,000 have been identified to be living near esteros, rivers, and waterways, and they are the most vulnerable victims of flooding whenever a typhoon hits low-lying areas of Metro Manila. In identifying safe havens, geohazard mapping has been crucial in identifying areas safe for relocation.
It will somehow guide urban development because one of the items that we are pushing in the NDRRMC is to assist effective urban planning, because we believe that effective urban planning is the best way to mitigate climate change. Kung tama ang lokasyon mo ng iyong settlement, you will not be mitigating anything. You will not be having casualties. Kasi nasa lugar ka na hindi binabaha. Nasa lugar kang hindi nila landslide. Therefore, you will not have casualty and the costs will be much cheaper.
The National Housing Authority has identified two strategies: in-city or on-site relocation, or off-city or off-site. If the relocation program is in-city, Valenzuela City was among the first to provide the land. This led to the construction of Disciplined Village 1 and 2 to relocate informal settlers living along the banks of the Tuana River.
With the approval of the 2016 budget, we will be able to complete all of the 104,000 within 2016. No, right now we're as far as 2015 is concerned. As far as NHA is concerned, we're actually doing about 89,000 units. Of the 89,000, about 60,000 of 60 plus thousand has already completed. No, of the 60,000, we have about 42,000 families relocated already. No. In addition to what NHA is doing, we have Socialized Housing Finance Corporation, who is also part of the housing family, who's also helping out and doing their own share in relocating all of these people. No? So effectively, by 2016, we'll be able to probably cover the 104,000.
We have to give credit where credit is due. No? Funds were allocated to relocate families living along the danger zones, and I think significant number of families have been relocated so far in the metropolitan area. This is really a partnership between the local and the national government, in which the national government provided the funds, and the local government either looks for the location within the city or outside the city. In the case of Valenzuela, we had to relocate 3,000 families, and the initial 1,000 families were already relocated. This is a help between the private sector, led by San Miguel Corporation. And the second phase, this is what we call the Discipline Village 2. No?
Off-city relocation will mean the resettlement of informal settlers outside Metro Manila. Areas have been identified in the provinces of Bulacan and Pampanga in the north, Rizal in the east, Cavite and Laguna in the south. In the meantime, Housing Secretary Chito Cruz bared a long-term plan to decongest the population of Metro Manila. Cruz-Baird talks are ongoing with the Department of Transportation to provide mass transportation from Metro Manila to the north and south. Cruz said the long-term plan calls for new townships to include residential areas, schools and health facilities, infrastructure, economic zones to provide the jobs. Cruz said an area close to Subic and Clark will be an ideal site for the township to be built.
Clark and Subic is a good place where they can find employment. No? So we'd like to look at that. I'd also like to look at PESA areas where we can create housing around these areas, so we can provide the families who will be relocated for employment. So these are the areas that we need to be looking at also, and again, the transport system. No? If they're working in Metro Manila, the transportation should be efficient and less costly.
For the People's Television Network, this is Freddie Abando reporting.